Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Stride Esports. Of course, we have some great gameplay for you guys yet again. We're in week 5 here, opening off. Of course, my name is Educast, joined by the rambunctious Wes Rambo. How you doing today, Rambo?
I'm feeling rambunctious, and even more so now that you built me up, man. It's really, really good to be here at Stride Esports for the fall 2020 Eastern Varsity Valorant. We're going for week 5 right now, and it's my first day, Edu, but I know that you've been following these teams for a while, so I'm really excited to kind of get my dip my toes in a little bit and get to know these teams here.
Yeah, and honestly, it's some of these teams that we have opening up in the first bracket here, of course, is going to be the Ohio Virtual Academy versus the K-12 Private Academy. And, you know, I've seen Ohio and K-12. They have, you know, had pretty decent showings here so far. Definitely these students have come in to compete. And in this bracket, you do want to try to win as many as possible, or just get that kind of practice to make sure that you're able to win the next one. But obviously, before we start talking about the teams that we're about to see, we're going to be talking about the weekly schedule and what we really have coming up here. Of course, it's Friday, so the week really ends, but this is what you can expect next week. Obviously, Monday, if you like League of Legends, Tuesday for chess, if you guys like that, chess.com. Wednesday, we do feature some Fortnite gameplay, and if you didn't know, some of the students that compete in the Valorant also compete in the Fortnite one. So if you are a Fortnite player and a Valorant player, that's something that you might be looking forward to. But of course, Thursday's Rocket League and the wonderful finale Friday Valorant, and that's where me and Wes come in to really showcase everything. And After that, we break it down into the daily schedule for today. Now that we're moving forward, of course, we have the East region at 5 p.m. and we're going to be casting this entire game. Of course, these are all Eastern Standard Time. So after that, we do have that hour-long coaching. And if you want to watch that, highly recommend get in between and meet these coaches. We have Coach Best Student GG, a very intelligent person that can help you guys level up your game. And finally, we end it at 7 p.m. in the Central West region with one more game. I believe that's going to be Insight Washington versus California Virtual Academy. So that's pretty much everything here. But my man Wes Rambo, can you tell me what we're about to be seeing here with the new teams coming up here for
Yeah.
what we're about to watch?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, we got Ohio Virtual up against K-12 Private Academy. Now, I've been informed that both of these teams are actually 4-0. Like you said, like we talked about, we're in week 5 of 8 coming into this day. So definitely these teams kind of looking to get more wins as the playoffs loom in the next few weeks. But we are going to get into, I believe it's going to be Ascent for this map. And of course, these are best of ones. So this is game 1 for the Eastern side. And yeah, I'm really excited what these two teams, these two 4-0 teams have to show for us, because one of them is going down to 4-1.
Yeah, and obviously going into these maps here, I think for this best of one, we're gonna go on to Bind here, and obviously with a map like Bind, it's something where you're gonna see a lot of mobility coming into play. I'm hoping to see maybe some raises coming around on this map in this meta. It's just a really big thing. And for the looming question out there that some people at home might be having, since Harbor is in the game, but he's technically not allowed in the competitive play for a few weeks here, so we're not going to be seeing any agent of Harbor yet, but we do hope that when that meta does shift, he will be coming in and we can showcase some of that gameplay coming forward. But my question to you, Wes, is do you think that Harbor as an agent will really shift that meta? I know that there's been a lot of talk of them replacing Viper.
Yeah, and that is the question, right? There are definitely some things that Viper still can do that Harbor won't be able to do, but of course that the Cove ability, that smoke that comes in with a shield, really, really interesting thing to add to the game. Very much a sort of a counter to the snipers, to the ops that we can see coming in. So on certain maps, I would love to see Harbor come into the meta, replacing that Viper, added as a second controller, something like that. Man, I can't wait to see it. And yeah, in a couple weeks after that ban is lifted, then we probably will, because I know that these players are going to be excited to try out that new agent. But for now, like you said, we are getting into Bind. We're not going to see Harbor today. And instead, we are going to see some pretty spicy stuff coming in already. I see that there's the Chamber coming in, as well as Reyna, Fade, and Omen coming in for the attacking side.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at that attack inside, we see POCal going in with the Reyna, and when we're talking about a map like Bind, your duelists are going to need to be shifting a meta a lot and trying to take as much space, maybe control it as much as humanly possible. But with Reyna here as the solo duelist to move forward, it's going to be very difficult for them to try to make that space, unlike what a Raze can do. So I'm really hoping that these players can bring their A game here and really showcase why they're going to be locking in these agents. Of course, another thing that I do like on this map is a smoke agent of Omen. I kind of prefer it over the Brimstone, because Brimstone locks himself down from that range with the smoke agent there. And what are your thoughts moving forward? I definitely, I see a lot of uh-ohs coming forward here.
I do love Brimstone on this map. I love the ability to use the orbital strike, and I think that there are some really good choke points that Brimstone can take advantage of. But I gotta shout out Omen, because we've got a 3-flash team over on the side of K-12 on the attacking side. So they are starting on attack. They have the Sky, they have the Omen, they have the Reyna. So they are going to be going hard and fast on these initiations, trying to get access to those sites. And Bind, a classically defensive-sided map. So will this triple flash combo be able to break through those defenses that are being put up by Ohio coming in here? It remains to be seen. I mean, like we said, both of these teams have brought their A game so far, and that's exactly what we're going to find out as we come into this best of one on Bind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a best of one. So really, you're just showcasing what they are going to be bringing to the table here. And right now, seeing this team composition, this attacking side lots of flashbangs, as you said. You got the Sky, you got the Omen, and of course, you do have a little bit of blind coming out from the Fade. But with that amount of blinds, flashbangs, and utility, it also comes at a cost of taking up time here. So they're going to have to try to either be very aggressive or just no default and push this down. But right off the bat, we're seeing them push split, hookah, and long. But that's going to be one initial pick, and JVR's body is going to teleport right on over to it. And here we have only Queen anchoring this site against all 5 people, rushing them down. And that's already a great opening here for this team.
Yep, already coming in, already getting access to that site, just like we were talking about with those initiation tools. But there are some trades coming back through. It's going to be the Fade and the other initiators holding strong, but POCal doesn't manage to get much. There's POCal getting the headshot actually over onto Pippin and taking out Yor as well. It's only Athena going to be remaining in a 1 versus 4, and this pistol round is all but matched up right here in the first round of Bind.
Yeah, I mean, this is a potential ace, but it looks like Athena is shutting that down, getting the another pick down, and unfortunately, the Reyna is not going to get the 5-piece, but so far, so good. I mean, if I was questioning why you're picking a Reyna and then in the pistol, you go 4 and 1, that's the kind of gameplay that I personally like to see here. And of course, looking at the next round, these attackers are going to go for that full-ish buy. They're going to want to try to just crush through this defense, but we're already having we're having a little bit of a timeout. I think one of the players is having a little bit of a connection issue here. So, you know, that is my question to you. With how you just saw them take that pistol round quite, honestly, aggressively, do you think that that strategy is going to hold up once the enemy team starts learning a little bit?
Well, I mean, that's the game plan that they've committed to, right? So we better hope so for their sake. And I think that it definitely does have the potential, especially from what we just saw. POCal coming in with some great kills with that Ghost. And yeah, really, really impressive stuff so far. But like you said, it's maybe a little bit of something that can be adapted towards for the side of Ohio. They might start to read their opponents a little bit better and see what other options they can push their opponents into, right? See what other options that they can make them go for instead of just coming in guns blazing, all the flashes, all the utility, all the initiation coming in at once. It remains to be seen, and the gun rounds are where we're really going to see how well Ohio can hold against the onslaught.
And honestly, I'm hoping that Ohio can try to hold them back here, because right now we're seeing that K-12 already off to a pretty solid start. I'm hoping that they can keep that moving, but momentum is a way of the game here, with now everybody on this attacking side being very aggressive inside of this short lane. But that's going to be a dog for a lot of info. Luckily, the Rain is not going to take a lot of damage. Now they're just going to hold W, try to go in, and that's some damage through the smoke. Fortunately, Harbor's the only one that's bulletproof, and now it's up to you. I will call her. Gets one. POCal gets another, but what a shot! Taking everybody down, and I mean, they were missing a player, but it still didn't matter to them getting those picks down. And honestly, what a play that K-12 just did.
Yeah, it's POCal again coming in with some great stuff. Very, very bold not to even buy up on the second round, going with the Ghost once again, and makes it absolutely work. That's another example of just those initiation tools being used. Ohio had all the info, but it was still the individual skill coming in from the side of K-12 that was able to get that round through. And yeah, really, really impressive stuff. Now they're going to pick up guns, but they are going to be up against the rifles over on the side of Ohio. So will those rifles be the things to turn the tide? We will see as they move up towards hookah.
Yeah, and I mean, they still are missing a player right now, and when you're missing a player like that, you're gonna want to be a little bit careful, especially since against a rifle, one stray bullet through smoke and you're not in that game anymore, and that's what makes it kind of risky. But again, as you pointed out, full save on that second round, and it still managed to be flawless for him. But now they have to face off against Pippin, but it doesn't matter to this Reyna, who's now rifled up and ready to go, trying to push through these players, is gonna get a little bit of a blind bit down. But Spike is planted, and they're in a great advantage. But look at that. Still completely blind. It decides to peek out, and Queen is going to take advantage of that, getting that pick down. And now it's going to be a very aggressive raise against this chamber, and the timing is on their side. And Queen is just absolutely dominating so far. But 2 against 4 still have that AFK. And there's Gravix run and gun and makes them done. That's going to be 2, and they clutch it. 2 against 4.
Oh, lightning fast from Striker and Gavix coming through. And yeah, it looked really good. There was the retake coming through, all the Fade utility used, and they managed to take out a monster that is Piocal. But still, the last two defenders, still with that AFK, like you said, the last two defenders managed to hold that site strong and, you know, just landing their shots, basically. I love what we saw from Queen there, though. Really taking great advantage of that Fade utility that was coming through. Very, very good to take down what's kind of showing as the star player for their opposing team, but still the last two attackers defending that planted spike were the ones to come through in the end. Now maybe we'll see a little bit more of a passive strategy coming through from Ohio, not wanting to run so closely into those really, really great shooters from the side of K12. I will call her, and Gavix coming up towards the smoke. That's Striker right through the smoke, taking out Pippin though already, and now it's going to be the 4 versus 4.
Yeah, 4 versus 4 Striker. Lots of damage taken by that nade, but already got one, and Biocal's gonna get the other. And they also have their teammate reconnect, which means this is gonna be a 5 versus 3 if they can get back in time. But right now, they have Spike already on this site, and it's just gonna be tough to retake it with another pick down. Of course, they are looking against just Queen here, and Queen's gonna get it. But now, 1 versus 3. They know that the Spike is down, but they have to play it slow, and that's going to be another beautiful shot. This Raze is bringing the A game here, but there's another one, and it's just up to Zoner, who's been AFK for so many rounds, unfortunately reconnecting with only a classic versus Queen, who has been hunting for more.
Queen going for the clutch right here, not able to hit the shot. 1 bullet left. Zoner with only the classic remaining has to go for it. There comes the showstopper through, but it's not going to land. Zoner is playing this so well, and Queen on 12 HP, but Queen has to tuck in. That's going to be Zoner coming back from the dead and getting the clutch in the end. Queen played so well in that round, Edgy, but it was Zoner back from AFK to save the day.
I mean, that's the kind of gameplay you want to be seeing from somebody, especially it's like, hey, you've been gone a while, you owe us something. And Zoner brought it with a clutch, but looks like that's the only clutch we're going to get. A little bit of a disconnect again. Somehow, with all the PC issues, still able to consistently pop off here. And, you know, special shout out to Queen there.
Yes.
Absolutely beautifully played, getting those 1, 2, 3 headshots and just barely was unable to clutch up. But that's what's going to happen here. And unfortunately now, we're moving into another disconnect. But this team K12, they're so good, they might not need Zoner.
That's exactly it. They are willing to play at that disadvantage, and they've been doing just fine so far. They do have to watch out, like you said, for that Raze, for that Queen, who is playing so well. Athena now is the one who's tasked with defending this A site as the rotations come through. The plant does come through, and they're going to play a retake. You're trying to get some info out from the Heaven position, but already these aggressive positions have been taken so effectively. Now, the trap is set. Will they be able to move in properly? Here's Gravix coming around the corner and gets taken out.
Taken out by Queen, but oh, that's a big push from JVR. Getting 2 down here, but there's Zoner. Back, reconnected yet again, 2 against 4, and I will call her. Needs to start hitting those, but this is Queen on the flank, and it's gonna be it, and there it is. The first round won by Ohio, and that's kind of what they needed. They desperately needed to take that round to try to shift just everything, economy, back in their favor.
Yeah, and they played so well. They really had great discipline in that round, playing retake, not going in one by one, not making sure that they used their numbers to their advantage, and you saw it exactly, able to punish Gravix on that peek out. He was facing down way too many players on that peak to deal with. So great work there by the side of Ohio, getting their first round on the board, and a well-deserved one indeed. Now, it looks like we do have 5 strong on each team. It looks like we are back to a fair fight between these 10 players. And 4-1 still the scoreline. On attack, that's nothing to sniff at for Bind.
Yeah, I mean, K12 definitely showing me up here. I said that maybe their composition, it needs to be very aggressive, and they're bringing that aggression, able to get onto that site so smoothly almost every single round here, and they're doing it again, but they have to get past this Brim. Pippin, who is going to get a pick onto 1, pop the ultimate, and that's going to force out the Omen into the crosshair and into the spray. That's the kind of gameplay we love seeing. Pippin popping, and now it's about who can stop him, and it's I will call her. Gets that pick, but last person standing, and that's a shorty. Lots of damage, 13 HP. Spike is down. They know 1's on the flank, so this is just timing here. How are we gonna see them push up? Queen
Oh, Queen, very, very unlucky there, having the paint shells out, and now I will call her still on 13 HP, the 1 versus 1 situation, and you could hear a pin drop on a site right now. They come around the corner, and it's Yor finally unseating the player who was trying to clutch that one out, and it's going to be a second one on the board for Ohio. A really, really close round there, and there's a lot to talk about, but you got to shout out Pippin playing in that U-Haul position, had been struggling in that position so far and really redeemed himself in this round.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of redemption coming out from almost single-handedly Yor at the end there, able to get that pick. Of course, Queen, that nade was pixels off of finishing them off, and that is the kind of gameplay that you really want to expect from these players. I mean, Queen able to try to spook him right into the U-Haul, and in U-Haul it becomes a grave for the chamber. But now we're looking at a round where relatively even economy for both teams. They're actually bringing it back quite well here, but there's a tour de force on both teams getting popped, and now we're starting. How are they going to play around this sniper?
Yeah, look at the attackers. Look at K12 here. They are playing so passive, just all grouped up really far back. Not the aggression that we've been seeing from them so far, taking a lot more of their time and trying to use all of their utility to clear out this tour de force, and that is going to be the case. Has to teleport away, just missing that shot, and Piocal will take advantage. Now everybody has taken up positions in hookah and B long, pardon me, but look at the amount of defense they're going to be coming up against, Edgy.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 players, 1 with tour de force, and there is 1 more down. Now it's just the 3 left on site, and they have to try to back it up. Of course, Piocal is going to be there, but Gravix through the smoke just barely spots the head and gets 1, and there's the Reyna getting Pippin. Now 2 against 4, and with that ultimate giving away Yor's position, this is going to be kind of scary here for Yor, but that's going to be 1 and 2, making it 4. Piocal flawlessly taken out 4 yet again.
Yeah, you've got to have some bravery and you've got to have some confidence to play that Reyna, and Piocal is showing it in spades. So good. Always consistently getting those frags every single round, making the most of Reyna's abilities right there. And especially, I love how they so carefully and so methodically cleared that B long, trying to get themselves safe from the tour de force, even having to use both of them as they went down, using 1 for each angle. Really, really nice stuff. Very good way to use those initiation abilities in a slightly different way than just an all-out rush. So I really like kind of the variety that they're bringing with, like you said, this very, very one-note team comp in some hands.
Yeah, I mean, but that early push-up is going to take out 1, and with the trade, they know where the spike is, and they might try to take this portal, but Queen, sitting inside a hookah, has that nade ready for it, but only a frenzy, and a frenzy can't do a whole lot. And that's why looks like I will call her is going to gun him down. And now it's just going to be how can Yor hold it? And the running gun is going to get gunned down by Gravix. And now it's a 2 against 4. Spike planted. And it's just up to Athena, who might find a new weapon. But, oh, scared away by the bot.
Yeah, and that's probably going to signal the round ending there, as Pippin and Athena are miles from each other. No way to really play this together, and just not much of a chance back into this round. But they could go for it, potentially. They want to at least get something done here. Smoke's at least going to be committed. Piocal is smoked off. That's a good smoke to use, but they've got a lot further to go, and Piocal wants to get a little bit interesting here, pushing through, taking out Pippin, healing up a little bit, pushing forward once more, and that's going to be Athena going down as well. Piocal is reigning supreme on Bind here.
Absolutely, just raining bodies down, and it's the kind of gameplay that you need to see from a Reyna. If you're gonna lock in that agent, you're gonna have to try to make a Reyna rain down all of the pain onto these players, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, consistently, Piocal is going in and just one-tapping, one-banging, holding the W key, and making sure anybody who sees them doesn't last very long, and that's the kind of gameplay that you need on this Reyna. But with that Reyna away from the question, you know, look at the enemy team. You got Queen here really just trying to put down these picks to keep their team in this game, and they're doing a relatively decent job. It's just tough with how aggressive this team composition is.
Yep, no question about that. Now Piocal might be in a little bit of trouble, forced through the teleporter right into the waiting hands of JVR, who finally is able to take that down. That's a really great position for Ohio to get themselves into a 5 versus 4, and Queen, oh, just pulls out the Vandal in time and gets the headshot on Striker as well. So a 5 versus 3, very, very good chance that Ohio's going to be able to put 3 on the board in this round now.
Yeah, I mean, if they can try to get some more on the board, you're going to see Queen using that showstopper, and it's needing to stop something, but it is not going to connect, and that's going to be one Rosa ult down. Queen here did put themselves up and is not getting spotted yet, but with that ultimate, it is going to give them away regardless, and that's the power. And I think they know where Queen is. Queen can't really hear too well right now, but that's Pippin backing them up, but there's the trades, the doubles, now 3 against 2, and it's just about how they can hold this down. You're going for the swing, gets 1, but there's the trade. Now 1 versus 1. It's Chamber versus Chamber.
That's it, and I will call her, turns around just in time for JVR to find the pick, and that's a beautiful defense by Ohio right there. We mentioned Queen tucking into that corner, how much utility, how many abilities and resources they had to expend just to clear Queen out of that corner, and then Pippin is right there to back them up. So beautiful. That's textbook defense on short for the side of Ohio, and the well-deserved round once again, but still, the individual skill, the aggression from K12 almost puts them over the line, even in the face of such a strong defense. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from both these teams right now. But yeah, you need, it just shows how hard this is going to be for Ohio, because you need plays like that in order to beat this team here.
Yeah, and I think all the plays that they're bringing to the table, it's just tough, because right now, the aim on this team, K12, is so consistent that it's tough. But with what we just saw from JVR, they might be able to keep it back. But there's POCal getting 1. I will call her getting Athena. And here is the push-up that they really need. A site relatively empty outside of Pippin, only armed with a Frenzy. Very tough here, but as long as Pippin could just buy some time for that rotate, they might be able to hit the retake on that 3 against 5. But look at that, it's another bait. All of them taking that teleporter, making the enemy team in a bind here, and now it's just Yor trying to anchor it down and spots all of them, but the aim, it's just gonna be shut down by Gravix there, but maybe Pippin's got a lineup for us.
Oh, very close, not quite hitting that corner, but that's definitely going to be a dangerous one to continue to look out for as we continue in this half and the ending rounds of this half here. But there is Queen trying to come through, trying to make a satchel play, not going to get past, I will call her, and it's only Pippin remaining, runs right into the Fade Util, and a flawless round once again. And yeah, I just want to point out Pippin doing a really nice job of defending that A short position, but then just off of the sound cue from Queen going into the teleporter, that was all that K12 needed to send their entire team through the other teleporter, knowing that there was 1 fewer defender over on that B site. So really nice reaction. Whoever is calling the shots over on the K12 bench there is doing a great job getting themselves into great positions in these rounds.
And I completely agree. And if you're going to be congratulating whoever's calling the shots, we got to thank the teachers for helping put this together and making sure that everybody gets in here to have some fun. But speaking of having fun, it's JVR having a lot of fun in middle, getting the pick on I will call her. And now we got POCal trying to hold that W key and get on to the site. Queen, of course, with that nade, is going to stick to the stinger, and that is going to be Striker. But JVR gets 2 more, making it 3 before Striker shuts them down. And now it's a 2 against it, and Athena is going to go down as well, but the tap fire is going to be popping out, and there's the pick for POCal and the ultimate, the Empress. Last thing standing, but oh, that's going to be the end there, and it's hard to shut down an Empress. You can't really dethrone her.
Yeah, great reaction time there from POCal, just taking advantage of that spray down for the Spectre. Not nearly as powerful a weapon as the Vandal, and that shows exactly why. 1 round left for the side of K12 to be on the attacking side with this composition, and so now we kind of get to the question here, Educast, of this attack focused composition. How will it perform on defense? Do they have to go really aggressive over on the defensive side? Will Ohio be able to use their more well-rounded team composition to craft some, more complex attacks? That's what we have to see. I'm really curious about how they're going to use all these flashes on the defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, with those flashbangs on that defense, you can try to back them up, but also, one thing I'm waiting for, with this Omen here, I mean, that definitely locks down so much, and with that teleport already we're seeing 1, but Queen's getting another, but look at how aggressive this Reyna has been, and it's gonna end in failure with, of course, Queen popping off, and Pippin's already got 2. Now, just gonna be that 2 against 3, and I will call her, needs to try to back it up here.
Pippin went down in a blaze of glory there to their own orbital strike, but still got 2 kills, so well worth it. And that's going to end the last round. 4-8 will be the scoreline, and a very respectable comeback considering that 4-0 start that K12 had. Very, very nice from Ohio to get this much and get this many rounds after that start. So 4-8 will be the score at the end of the half. And yeah, you know, I'm so curious exactly how the defensive side is going to work for this initiate heavy composition. We'll see how they set up, and that will kind of give us a bit of a signal as to what they're planning. But Ohio, all of the pressure is on them right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure building up here, and when you got a lot of pressure on your back, you're gonna either want to just carry it or dump it off, and that's gonna be really decided by this pistol round, because that pressure's been building up that entire half. If they take this pistol round, I feel like that's gonna give them a sigh of relief, and they need that, especially since now they're on the attack, and their team composition is arguably one of the best team compositions for Bind here. And looking at this defensive team comp, they don't really have too many sentinels that can really shut them down, especially Reyna here, but that Reyna's got insane aim, so B site, let's see how they can actually be pushing it.
Yeah, and look at that. The defense is just on long, and so B site overall is going to be pretty open, but JVR is the one to turn and spot the defenders first. Both of those B long defenders are down, and now the attack is on. 5 players on site, 5 players strong to retake against I Will Call Her. Gets shut down, gets that phone hung up on them, and Queen is the one to get the next kill. That's going to be the trade coming through, but the trades are going in favor of the attackers still. Striker with 32 HP, and the Classic, the only player remaining for the side of K12.
I mean, Striker, they have been up there for doing some damage for K12 here, but in a 1 versus 3, it's going to be real tough with the only 32 HP, but here they go, going right through, and you're just trying to buy some time for them, and Pippin is going to get the final blows, and that's the kind of gameplay we need to see from these attackers, taking that pistol round, really showcasing that they need this to keep going. If they get this momentum, they could tie this up 8-8 rather quickly.
And you see the game plan coming in. This is something we see at all levels of Valorant, is on that B site on Bind, the double player defense only catching one side of it. So this time they were on B long, the last time they were on B long, this time it looks like they're headed to hookah. And if you manage to get what you need and use those initiation tools properly, you can get yourself a good advantage. But in this case, Ohio played it so well and was able to get the picks. There's JVR only revealing some info, but getting a good amount of damage as well. And Piocal has to back off too. It's going to be another B hit.
And that B hit already just making some waves here. The damage coming out from both of these players. The trades are definitely flowing, but Queen has a Vandal in the hands of them, and that Raze wants to do some DPS if they can, but it's going to be a little bit of rotation with the bomb as Queen is just freely taking this space up in this elbow, waiting for anybody on that rotate before they get gunned down. And of course, Queen is a solid player, so this could end up big if they just get one.
Very interesting map state here. Like you say, Queen is getting the flank, and that's already going to be successful, but the rotation was read so easily by the defenders. They are already there on A site, waiting for this plant to come down. Yor is going to be under pressure as soon as the plant goes down, and that's Piocal coming out. Striker has to find something as well, and Queen does go down to the Classic. So good, so much value from Striker, and Zoner to find the final play. So the defenders, even with the flank from Queen, still, it is read so well. It's such a great reaction. Once again, that shot calling is on point for the side of K12, and they get the round.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thrifty round as well. And honestly, I was shocked that we didn't see more utilization out of those attackers. That was their buy round. And, you know, you got to hand it to K12, pulling out a Classic, no stops, no hold bar, getting those picks down. And honestly, watching Zoner get that initial pick in U-Haul with the Classic, one click, right click, that's a free gun, by the way. It comes with the game. And honestly, you got to hand it. That kind of gameplay, being able to make so much out of so little, that's why they're currently winning this game. But there we go, another one
towards Showers, and that's Piocal taking down Athena. Piocal's ready on the next angle, and will the Classics be able to get anything this time? No, it's going to be Piocal. Oh, Queen! Once again, that gun is free, just to remind you. Striker with the trade, but it's going to be 2 versus 3. Now, JVR gets a great flank, but is going to have to peek out into those Showers players who are very dangerous on the rifles. Looks like they're going to let him back off. Spike recovered, 2 versus 2, but the health is such in the advantage of K12 right now. I don't know how they want to play this, but JVR is already in trouble, and that's going to be a 1 versus 2 now. It's Yor alone.
Yeah, Yor is alone, but they do have a rather large weapon. Of course, it can't one-tap from a lot of distances here, so they're going to have to play this pretty close range when it comes to clutching it up, and when you only have 14 HP, it's going to be difficult, but this is the kind of gameplay you need to do, waiting it out, being patient, but oh, the swing, and it is not going to work. Striker is going to get the pick and make it 3. That's the kind of gameplay defenders needed to now put them in double digits here. They only need 3 more for this game to be over.
Yep, K12 still looking very, very powerful on this map here, and it still is, can benefit the defenders so much the way the map is designed, and they are using that to their advantage for sure. I really like the way they've been playing this defense. I like the way that they aren't getting too aggressive, but still using those initiation tools well. But Ohio's making it close. So that round was on a knife's edge, even with how well the defenders played. So props to Ohio for this, and looks like they're getting maybe a little bit more committed towards that B-long area. Looks like, yeah, they are going to push into this op, and JVR manages to win that duel once again. The chamber versus chamber goes in the favor of JVR, and what a shot coming in from the chamber, getting another headshot. Striker remains on the B site. There's going to be Piocal coming in to support, but the teleports come through. This is a great reaction from Ohio. What a round, and JVR is staying as an anchor. Such a hero in this round so far.
Honestly, JVR is ready to get some more, and that's going to be 3 down right off the rip, and now it's up to Gravix to get opt down, and now it's up to you. The Empress takes out JVR. That is the biggest threat that was on this board, and you're ready for some more. Let's see it with the push-up going right through short, looking around, but that's a flashbang. They get some info. They're going to start dumping all of that. The reason why this team is so solid is both the dogs and the birds, but there's the info. There's the peak. Queen is not able to get the shot off, but Pippin a little bit low, and that's going to be Yor getting the pick. And honestly, attackers, give an MVP to that man, that player JVR, for really bringing their gameplay together. And that 3K was just beautiful.
Oh, that was a beauty to watch right there. And yeah, they've got to be watching out for that. First winning a duel against the op, then that ridiculous headshot coming in towards that B site. Unbelievable play from JVR, trying to kind of match the energy that Piocal was bringing at the beginning of the first half. And 6-10 the scoreline now. And we do see actually a little bit of a labored buy coming through for the side of K12. They will be able to get guns, but it's not going to be full armor. It's not all going to be rifles. But Piocal has picked up that operator Edu, and we know how skilled this player is in the hands. Now in hand, has the most powerful gun in the game. See what can be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, it is in the hands of this Reyna, but with the teleport out, look at that. TP's right into the smoke. Can't really see too much, but the reason they picked up that op is because right now we got Queen with an op on that attack. They need something to try to get that 1 versus 1, but with the ultimate now going, the Nightfall falling down upon them, I will call her perfectly positioned to get a pick. Doesn't even need a here to get 1, but there's the op in the hands of Piocal getting 2. What a shot! And that's the end. Defenders clean sweep, holding those keys to get them onto that site and spray them down.
And you blink and you miss it for that one. All the frags happening at almost the exact same time. And like you said, Piocal coming through with that operator, not disappointing on that gun. And so 6-11 now the scoreline, going to be still able to buy up for Ohio. So it's going to be a full gun round coming in. And yeah, we do have to shout out Piocal with that 25 kills on the scoreboard right there. So impressive from them. JVR trying to make their way up towards that count as well with 17. The 2 star players showing out and, coming through, no question about that. This time, though, a more passive hold on that B site for the side of K12. And once again, we do, to match it, we do see a passive hold from the attackers as well, just defaulting, just trying to get that information, get some resources out of their opponents, and get themselves into an advantageous position. Teleporter sounds, but it's Piocal to take advantage of that peak that came through. JVR now is ready, but Queen trades it out.
I mean, that's the kind of trade that you need, but Queen They like the op, and they now have another one in their hands, and that's what we need to see here. You need to have a weapon advantage, especially against these double digits, but Queen, here's the footsteps, a little bit of a wall bang, and there's going to be Striker striking Queen down, and now the op is also on the ground, leaving only, I will call her with an op in hand, while everybody now starts to push up onto this site. Of course, it is planned for them, but the ultimate, that's going to be the dogs, and there is Athena getting Gravix down. A little bit of a sky diff as everybody's now pushing forward, but they can just wallbang right through it when everybody's just going for it, and Athena gets another, but it's just up to Pippin right here, 1 versus 2. Spots 1. Does do a little bit of damage, but is going to pick off the fade. Now it's just up to I will call her. 1 versus 1 against Pippin, and that is going to be the stem and the clutch.
Amazing from Pippin there. So disciplined on that post plant. And yeah, it was a bit of a wacky round coming towards the plant, but you gotta as well call out Athena for 2 kills. One of them fully blind, nothing seen there, just using game sense to know where that spike was planted and where the diffuser would be. Really impressive stuff for Ohio to keep themselves alive, keep themselves away from match point. And yeah, this is getting to be one of the closer games we've seen in this league here. So really exciting stuff. And both of these teams on that 4-0 win streak in the league. Very, very exciting to see both of them really show us exactly why they are undefeated.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're undefeated here because of the consistency that you have. Anybody can hit a shot like that, but there's 2, and it's the consistency, as I say, to not just hit 1, but hit 2 and send them to the other site, right into POCal and this other player. Of course, if you're joined by Gravix, this could be good enough, but in a 2 against 3, they do still have numbers advantage for this attack. But there's the rotate. Look at that. The Chamber and the Omen already booking it right through the connector elbow, and they're already here. This is a bad position to be in if you were the attackers, but I think that's not going to stop them from trying to rotate again. 50 seconds remaining, and Striker just trying to make some more space.
Yeah, what is the reaction to this in the 3 versus 5? They're all cooped up. Their opponents know exactly where they are. For Ohio, match point staring them down, and Striker trying to get a little bit more aggressive. Striker with a great shot onto Athena with the wide swing. That's POCal to come up and follow up on that. And you're the last player standing. A flawless round to get K12 to match point, and it's all off the back of I will call her saying, JVR, you're not the only chamber who can do some work in this server right now.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of gameplay is definitely something to not scoff at. We're looking at, honestly, you know, this is why these kids are here to really perform and just show how good they are. I know that any of these clips are going to be definitely somebody puts in their resume if they ever want to be an esports player. I mean, what we saw from I will call her, able to hit those shots in the tour de force right off the bat, right off the rip. But JVR, you're going to need to also be a great chamber here to try to anchor it down. But look at that, the dog is going to bite down. And that's a lot of info for these defenders. But here comes a little bit of rotation here.
That was the fake teleport, by the way, so we will see if that is reacted to. We'll see what kind of advantage they can get. It looks like it somewhat has worked, but there's JVR taking Striker down, and now the jig is up. They know that that was a fake. They still want to push towards this A site. Here comes the showstopper for Queen. One last chance in this round, and there's I will call her going down. 20 HP remaining on that raise, but still Queen gets the job done. POCal with the Empress popped. Seems like they got it up every single round, and they are going to use it to the best of their ability. Gravix taking 2 down on the short side, but it's JVR with more. JVR spinning around with the Headhunter, getting a couple of heads to their name, and Zoner putting it into a 2 versus 1. It's going to be a, pardon me, the Zoner is the only player remaining on that team, and they're going to take down their opposing Fade, trying to get themselves towards the spike, pulls out the utility at the wrong time. JVR finishes off the Thrifty, and what a round from the Chamber answering back.
Wow, I mean, JVR gets 4 and ends it with 4 HP, almost losing the game, but does not with the clutch of the century for their team, able to get that immediate first bang, taken out the Omen. That kind of shot is the main reason they were able to do it, because Striker has been a thorn in the side of Ohio for so long when it comes to this defense. And you get rid of the smokes, you have now a clear and open site that is all yours for the taking, and JVR is gonna be ready for that. But now the economy coming out from the defense is looking pretty poor.
Yep, it's looking like they might be able to claw their way at least one more round for the side of Ohio. And yeah, I mean, I'm just still reeling from that play from JVR, to be honest. But I Will Call Her wants to get something done as well. And will Athena be aware of this? The timing is so close. Here comes I Will Call Her, missing a couple, but that's going to be the headshot. That's already so much value for a pistol round. Or an eco around here, and I Will Call Her. What a shot coming through. The chambers are absolutely making this their chamber right here. They are owning this house. JVR, though, wants to answer back, takes down that one player, and it's Queen coming in from the back. It's 2 versus 2 now. This round has gone absolutely crazy. Yor gets the kill, leaves Striker in a 1 versus 2 with only the Ghost. Striker just avoids the Fade utility, and will this give the information that Striker needs? Will Striker be able to get the backstab? It's a long way to go. Gonna hear the plant, gonna pick up the gun, and this is such a huge amount of pressure on Striker right now.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first to die, and now he's the last to if he fails here. But the thing about Striker is he now has a Vandal. He was able to pick that one up for free here, and he does have just a little bit of armor, so his HP could be just enough to clutch up here. And with that smoke making a lot of noise, though, needs to find these two who are sitting very patiently in showers. And honestly, I think that they might be able to clutch it up, but Striker is not someone you mess with. There's one, but oh, Queen is gonna get another one. And there it is, 9-12. Could we see double digits here for this attacking side?
It's absolutely possible as we see JVR pull out that Tour de Force. It's Piocal now coming in with the big gun as well to face them down. The only ultimate available over on the side of K12 is Strikers. So we'll see if that From the Darkness can get them into a position where they can try to turn the tides of this game. Meanwhile, Orbital Strike available, Nightfall available, and of course that Tour de Force coming in. So definitely still the advantage. A high potential for this to get to double digits here. And Striker's going to get that teleport, try to surprise some players on A short, but the attention is towards B.
Yeah, the intentions are definitely laid out for these players, but they're spread out, and that's kind of what worked for them on the attack last time. But Piocal right behind them looking for something with an op. That is such an aggressive op play, but it might work out with all the util now getting thrown. But I Will Call Her takes out Pippin. No more controller for this attacking side, and now it's just going to be how can they retake it and force all of these players back. Of course, you are going to see Queen get that lurking Reyna. The op now down, and it's a 4 against 4. The possibilities are endless, and A site is open, so that's going to be a rotate through the portal.
Completely wide open, but the rotation's coming in very quickly. Actually, the defenders are going to beat the attackers to this site. Coming out of showers are 2 players, but JVR and the Rays are coming through. It's Queen going a little bit too far and getting picked off. I Will Call Her's playing so well in this round already. It's a 3 versus 4 to keep themselves alive in this best of 1. Gravix takes down Athena, making it even less likely, but JVR is still on the board. JVR doesn't quite hit the shot into heaven, but it's still the 2 versus 4. It's still JVR holding onto that Tour de Force, and that's going to be the kill. Now running back towards B, and this rotation, it looks like, is going to be able to be successful as long as they can make it in time, Edgy.
Yeah, as long as they can make it. 15 seconds remaining, they gotta go, but Striker spamming right through it. They do have the spike in the hands of Yor, but Yor has to get on that site. Perfectly plants it down just for them, and that's going to be a push-up, but look at that. It's an op into a Tour de Force switcheroo, and that's going to be the end of you with Gravix getting a triple kill down, and that's GG with K12 taking that game.
Yeah, GG indeed. What a match. It looked so dominant in the first few rounds for K12, but Ohio pulling it back incredibly well. That is just so impressive, and some of the individual play that we got from these two teams was absolutely astonishing, Edu. And as a matter of fact, we can't even just say individual play, because some of the shot calling, some of the team play as well was really impressive, and you can totally see why these two teams have been undefeated so far.
Yeah, and they were undefeated teams, but it looks like K12 really did bring their A game. I mean, it's just they had such a dominant first half there that, yes, it was a very good comeback for Ohio, but the problem that they had was that lead, the 4-8. And if it was 6-6, I think we would have seen that go into overtime. Those teams were such evenly matched. And I gotta ask you, my friend Wes, do you think that they need to do anything different, or do you think that really it's just down down to Bind needing to be removed from the game. Just kidding. But no, honestly,
you loaded that one a little bit, Edgy. You loaded that one a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I'm not going to protest too much. I'll just say, I won't go too much further on my take on that. But like you said, Ohio did pretty much all they could. And there was just, it just came down to some individual performances from the side of K-12. POCal got them such a great buffer in that early game, got them such a great amount of, such a great lead coming through with that Reyna, and put them on the back foot, right? It gets into you, it gets into your mental. And you saw Ohio, you saw that they were able to reset so effectively. But by that time, K-12 had the buffer they needed, and they just were able to take it home. But, both of these teams looking really, really good for playoffs. There's no question about that. So I cannot wait to see what kind of gameplay we're going to see in a rematch between these two teams.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And, we got to give props to the players that did incredibly well, but we also have to give props to the fact that K-12 was down a player for 5 rounds and still went 4-0. And, even having that handicap put on them, they were still able to pop off. Again, special shout out to Queen and of course JVR. Those two players were such integral parts of keeping their team up at the top there and really bringing that comeback into fruition. But again, thank you guys for competing. And with that kind of gameplay, one is going to now go from a 4-0 to a 4-1. And now we are going to be having a little bit of a break. So if you're the team that lost, make sure to stick around because we have some coaching that is going to be here up in a little bit, of course, with Coach Best Student GG. And that, of course, is scheduled for 6, so in about 12. But if you guys have been having fun, I've been Educast, and we will see you guys in a little bit of a break here with, of course, Inside Washington versus California Virtual Academies. And, of course, Wes is going to be there as well. So we'll see you guys after the coaching session.
Hey guys, welcome to another session of Valorant Basics. My name is Jonah. I'm an esports curriculum developer over at Mastery Coding, as well as being a former two-time national champion for Valorant. I played Duelist, mainly Jet and Phoenix at Rutgers University, and I was also a former contenders and collegiate coach for Overwatch. Well, that's a quick little blurb about me. Let's move on to our lesson. So we've already went over how to set your in-game settings, as well as some of the things that you would need to know when you're starting off in the game. The next part we'll be going over are agents and their abilities. To briefly recap, we talked about signature, basic, and ultimate abilities for the following characters in the roles, that being Duelist, Phoenix, Yoru, Neon, Jet, Raze, and Reyna. And we also briefly talked about controllers as well. And of course, last week saw the introduction of the newest controller, Harbor. And I was just talking to, Travell here, who will be helping me out in game, aka Zero Slime. And he was telling me that while Harbor is more of a controller by classification, he does play like an initiator a lot. Now, if you guys have any questions about him or other agents, feel free to leave those in chat to me. I'll be able to respond to them within 1 minute and 30 seconds. There's a slight time delay on the chat. But that being said, I'll hopefully get to your questions in as quick as manner as I can. So, another thing we want to talk about is how agents are better on some maps versus worse on others. It's really, really difficult to build a good team composition, but in my opinion, a team composition is composed of a controller, sentinel, initiator, duelist, and then one player is that flex, that fifth player. Now, in the previous game you guys just saw live, we actually had 2 initiators. We had both Fade and Sky on bind. That is because right now, the current meta of the game, that being the preferred way that is played at the highest level, or even in a competitive level, is 2 initiators. Initiators actually allow you to have a lot of space on the map. They allow you to get that space pretty easily with utility, and because of that, they are actually a very strong and very preferred character to run right now, especially because of new maps such as Breeze and Pearl, which have a lot of space. This makes it so that the initiators, when they control that space by pushing their utility inward, they're able to do so much more than other agents are able to. So the key to winning those games in both a casual setting and a competitive setting is a well-balanced team composition, and currently the strongest agent type is initiator. So let's talk briefly about those initiators. Moving on to those, we have the initiator category. We have KO, Sky, Breach, Sova, and not illustrated in this graphic is going to be Fade, the most recent addition to the Valorant roster that is not named Harbor. She's also an initiator. I apologize for not putting her on the slide, but there's not a good graphic featuring all of them. So the first one we're going to talk about is going to be Breach. Released during beta 2, he's actually a very strong character. There have been some changes here and there to his abilities. For example, he used to have multiple flashes, multiple aftershocks too, but he's been since tuned to his current state. As of today, October 21st, his name is Eric Torsten. His alias is Breach, of course. He's from Sweden. He's a human. He's a male as well. And he's one of the few agents where his code name is actually the same name that the game gave him. So he has no cooler other nickname that people like to call him by. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into a game really quickly with Zero Slime onto Ascent, and we're going to showcase you guys what exactly Breach does. So his abilities are, going to be pretty much illustrated by myself and Zero Slime. We're going to take turns. I'm going to use his abilities on Zero Slime to showcase what it looks like from your perspective if you would use the agent, and the other way around as well. Zero Slime will then use his abilities onto me as well to showcase what it looks like from the perspective of being hit by it. So you can kind of get a sense of where it is the agent falls along and how it actually interacts with the other agents in the game. So once we load in, we're going to take a look at the buy menu, and let me real quickly just turn on some cash. All right. So if we take a look at the buy menu here, really quickly, we can actually gather that some of his abilities cost quite a lot of money. So the first one is his Fault Line, his E ability. If we head over to B main here, where Zero Slime will meet us really quickly, his Fault Line actually extends for quite a long reach. So if you look at the top left of your screen on the mini map, you can actually see the Fault Line. If I hold it down, it will actually extend quite far. This allows me at the start of the round to actually prep this ability so that I can control various areas. If I press the E, by letting it go, it'll actually stun Zero Slime here. Now Zero Slime will use the same fault line ability onto me and showcase that once the stun lands, you can see my screen becomes very, very concussed, and also it decreases my rate of fire too. Meaning after I was to fault line someone, I can actually push them relatively easily. But here's the thing about initiators. While initiators, like the name says, do initiate the fight, they themselves are usually not the first ones going in. That's going to be the primary role of the duelist, or even your controller player or a sentinel player going in, right? The reason is because by the time the ability fault line is cast, you're actually not in position to swing and capitalize on the ability itself. So, for example, if I was to use the fault line on Zero Slime here, and my teammate was to swing out and shoot him right away, this would be a lot better of a sequence of events for you as an initiated player. Of course, you still can use your abilities for yourself, but as the role suggests, as the name suggests, it's a lot better for the initiator character to be the one setting up the plays rather than the one actually confirming the kill. That's why you'll see a lot of initiated players often with a lot of assists rather than, always topping off the charts on the scoreboard. Now, the next ability we're going to talk about is Breach's C ability by default. It's called Aftershock. It costs 200 credits. And what Aftershock does is, once I press C, it equips this little sort of radiation blast, right? And I can sort of target any part of the map, but I can't target the ground here. I can only target walls that have another extension part to them. So what I'll do is I'll showcase the C ability really quickly, Aftershock. So, Zero Slime, just go ahead and stand right here on the staircase. So, let's say that I'm walking up B main here, and I'm jiggle peeking and trying to see where everyone is in B main. Well, this is a normal standard play, right? Walking out on offensive side. But let's say Zero Slime showed himself on stairs and then hit again. I now know he's over there. But instead of shooting through the wall, what I can do is I can equip my C ability, the Aftershock, and put it out on that exact spot. This will create a 3-pronged attack, which blasts 3 separate times and actually kills Zero Slime right there if it gets hit by all 3. Of course, each one does roughly around, 55 damage. But if you were to, do that on a lower HP target, perhaps someone who's already been tagged, it would have even more effectiveness, right? So let's let our turn to be concussed by Zero Slime. He's going to go ahead and do the Aftershock onto me. And the thing is with this is if I dodge the second one or the third one, oh, sorry, an invulnerability on. I am trolling there. All right, if you could go ahead and do it again by turning on infinite abilities. There you go. And if I was to dodge the third one, it actually wouldn't kill. Oh. He killed me anyway. Okay, well, he's simply better than me, Zero Slime is. But nevertheless, you guys get the point, right? If you were to get hit by all 3 of the concusses of Aftershock, it actually does get rid of you. It does, confirm that kill onto you. Whereas if you were to, only use, 1 or 2 hits, it is pretty easy to dodge. But one of the most useful scenarios for an ability like Aftershock is removing opponents from those nested positions, such as the staircase, or even further, you can remove them from positions such as this little cubby right here on B main, right? If someone was stacked right here in this little spot, and I was to use the ability, it would actually cover this entire area, removing them completely from that position. This allows you to sort of take control of the map wherever you are, right? And that's the whole point of playing the initiator role. Now, the next ability is going to be called Flashpoint. It's going to be Breach's Q ability, rather. And Breach's Q ability is so important to the game because it's what's known as an overall flash, right? As it's so aptly named, Flashpoint. You're going to put your crosshair onto a spot after pressing the Q button, and when you left click, it's going to flash through the wall you're aiming at. So, for example, I'll go ahead and flash right now. And you see right here, my opponent is immediately blinded for a good 2 seconds. Now, of course, this ability is so good for helping your teammates get out, but it's also good for you getting out too, right? The main utility of it is, though, that you have to remember it goes through the wall at the angle at which you send it at. So don't go ahead and use the ability and then peek too early. Because if you were to do that, for example, by doing this, you actually might become blind yourself. Let's go ahead and turn on infinite abilities now. If you were to use it and, peek out too early, you would blind yourself. So don't, be the person that uses the ability at an angle in which you can actually see the other end of the flash, because then you'll end up blinding yourself. It'll cause you a pain as well as your teammates too, if you were to blind them. And so you really use your flashes with care. Kind of figure out where are some good spots for you to flash. So basically coming out of B main, flashing this spot right here is good, but flashing the right side will actually cause your teammates to be blind if they're up here. So remember that. And now you can see from Zero Slime's perspective what it looks like for me to be flashed. Now, of course, this does blind you for a solid 2 seconds, but it doesn't mean that you can't shoot and maneuver during it. Sometimes when you're flashed, what might be more optimal is to run behind cover, or, essentially play around cover as much as possible, so that if you are blinded, you can actually tuck yourself back in. Another thing to do is you can actually turn up your sensitivity, or if you're already a player with a pretty good sensitivity, you can actually try to dodge the flash. So Zero Slime is going to try to flash me right here. I'm going to try to turn the flash really quickly. And turned it. So once it's turned, you actually get blinded still, but you get blinded for a much lower duration. So instead of being blind for 2 seconds, I was only blind for half a second. That slight improvement may allow me to turn around and get the frag. And so that's going to be really, really imperative as you climb the ranks, as you learn how to play the characters, when you see things like flashes, that you turn them right away. Now, the last part of Reach's kit is going to be his X button, his ultimate ability. That's going to be his Rolling Thunder. I don't think there needs to be much explanation for this, right? It's a pretty cool ability. It looks very cool. I'm going to go ahead and use it. As you can see on your mini-map, top left, that entire area that's highlighted in red is going to be where the Rolling Thunder lands. Now, I'm going to use it on Zero Slime here, and he's going to go flying, all right? So you saw right there, it landed on him, and he's actually concussed for like a full 3 seconds. This is great for taking a lot of space where you and your team are going to execute. It's going to be very pivotal to use on choke points, and it's going to be super strong of initiation tool for you and your teammates to gather lots and lots of space and take control of the map. Now, Zero Slime, he's going to use the same ability onto me now, and you'll see what happens to your character when this Rolling Thunder lands. You'll see I'm knocked back. My fire rate is very decreased as well. Now, all of those things added together means that Breach is pretty much one of the best initiators on a lot of maps for taking space and control. Between his Fault Line, his Aftershock, his Flashpoint, and his Rolling Thunder, he's going to be one of those staple characters that you're going to see a lot going forward in Valorant. Now, that's enough about Eric Tostin. Let's move on to the most recent edition of the cast, which is going to be Fade. And so we'll just change over to Fade real quick, pause match timer and game phase. So when it is concerned with phase, she's one of those agents nowadays that is pretty much a staple of the competitive Valorant play. In the most recent game you saw, you also saw her too, right? She was very, very prominent. Both sides had a Fade as well. So she's going to be one of those characters that you definitely want to pay attention to. And of course, Fade's abilities are going to be Haunt, Prowler, Seize, and Nightfall. Her name, now excuse me for if I butcher this completely, but I will try my best to say her name. She is originally from Turkey, and as I am not Turkish, I will try my best. Her name is Hazel Iletemez. Now, I definitely pronounced that wrong, but you can look it up yourself. And of course, her codename is actually not Fade, unlike Breach. Her codename is going to be Bounty Hunter. She's also an initiator. Her race is Radiant. And as you can see from her character design, she has a lot to do with the darkness. And that's kind of what she does to you as a character. So let's go over to the B bomb site again. And we'll showcase you her first ability, which is called Haunt. Now, Haunt is a regeneratable ability, similar to Sova's Recon Dart, which you'll see shortly. And what happens when you throw out Haunt? After you press E and have the ability out, you can actually throw it. And what it does is creates a little eyeball on the ground. And if you're tagged by the eyeball, as in you're within vision of the eyeball, it'll actually mark the opponent. And so it's going to be a really useful ability for taking control of an area of the map by allowing you and your teammates to know exactly where people are. If I have an inkling, a little bit of a potential thought that someone is at the staircase, for example, right here, but I don't know for sure. What I can do is I can throw her haunt ability at that location, and it'll mark someone if they're close to it, and I can see them through the wall. And as you know, a lot of spots in the game of Valorant are wall bangable. So if Zero Slime was to be at the staircase location and I was to throw the haunt at him, I could actually be able to confirm that kill. But here's the caveat of this ability. There has to be some sort of counterplay, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the haunt, but Zero Slime will have time to actually kill the owl eye. So I'll throw it out, and Zero Slime here will actually shoot the owl eye, getting rid of it. And you'll see that once it's been destroyed, it only takes like 1 or 2 bullets, right, from any gun. And it's going to be really pivotal because if you see that ability in the game and you're on the enemy team, you want to be shooting it, all right? Haunt does have a 30-second cooldown, and one of the best communications you can make as a new player is whether or not you broke the haunt eye from Fade. You can also communicate the cooldown of that ability as well. Now, Fade's next ability is going to be pretty simple. It's called Prowler. And as you can see from here, each of the Prowlers actually cost 250 credits. Now, the cost of Initiator's toolkits in comparison to agent roles like Duelist or Controller are actually relatively expensive, with the majority of these agents' toolkits coming around to 700 credits, as opposed to Reyna, who's only hovering around that 600 mark, right, with her abilities. But they're trying their best, the developers are in Valorant, to kind of make all of those costs uniform, right, whereas Astra costs are astronomical, right? And now what I'll do is actually showcase the Prowler from Fade. So let's say I'm behind a wall and I throw out the Prowler. It actually goes in a straight line, whichever direction I'm pointing. So that means that I can actually point it at the direction I want it to go at. So if I want it to go to the staircase, I can actually curve it to the left a little bit, and look, it follows my crosshair a little bit. So I'll do it again. It'll just follow my crosshair a little bit. And once it locks onto a target, once it sees a target in front of it, it'll actually start chasing that target. So it's very good for finding out where people are. So Zero Slime, if you could, go ahead and play Cubby really quickly. And I'm going to use the Prowler. Once I use the Prowler and let's say like I think he's at Cubby, right? I can very quickly just aim the Prowler at him and it'll concuss him. And there you can see on his screen that he cannot see. But here's the thing. He can actually talk into Cubby and I will send the Prowler past him. And it actually won't hit him because it just keeps on going straight to whatever first target it has. Once it finds a target, it'll lock onto them. But before that, it won't. So be very, very careful and very, very cautious when you are using the Prowler because you don't actually see what the Prowler sees. You only know that it clears in front of you. So it's very easy to mistakenly clear angles with the Prowler, but those angles might actually be clear. Zero Slime, while it's still in the Cubby, and I believe it's clear, he could peek out and then kill me. So it's very, very important to notice that, to understand that although the Prowler is a useful ability for clearing space, it might actually get you into trouble if you don't use it very correctly. Now, Fade's next ability, at the cost of 200 credits, is going to be Seize, her Q ability. Once I press Q, a black orb appears on my screen, and I can then throw it at a location. And what happens is that character gets pulled in towards the center of that location. You can see here Zero Slime is trying to move out of it, but he's going to get pulled closer and closer to the center of that. So it's going to be really good, for example, if I really want him to come out of stairs and I throw it over there, then he'll be sucked in towards the center of that. And once he's getting sucked into that, I can then confirm the kill on him a lot easier. So Fade's abilities are very much about finding and disabling enemy players, similar to other Initiator toolkits. And her final ability, her Nightfall, is also going to be a 7-cost ultimate. When I press X, this same red square or rectangle appears in front of you, similar to Breach's Rolling Thunder, and I can then use it onto the B site. And once I use it onto the B site, it covers up in a rotating fashion, and look, it showcases actually where the enemy is. So I can actually use these lines on the map to figure out where opponents are. It'll keep on going and keep on chasing them. And furthermore, enemies will actually be blinded for a little bit and silenced I'm not silenced. They won't be able to hear audio, rather. So I guess they will be silenced. They can't really hear anything, right? Their audio will be cut. So they'll take increased damage. They'll get blinded for a tiny fraction of a second, and then they'll also be revealed, and they won't have audio. So there's a lot going on with Fade's ultimate. It's so powerful, and as you can see from the minimap, it's actually bigger than Breach's ultimate ability. So the area of effect of this ability allows you to take control of much more of the map. This is why you see Fade a lot more in the current competitive meta versus a character like Breach. She just provides a little more oomph right now, but I'm sure the developers might play around with that, change it around a little bit. So again, I use the Nightfall ability. There he goes, Zero Slime. He's now deafened. He's now, temporarily, he's revealed completely. I can then confirm the kill on him a little bit. If he moves a little bit, you can see that it just follows him around, and it lets me know where he is. And that's going to be pretty much all that there is to know about Fade right now. Now, if you want to learn more about Fade and characters like Fade, those being initiators, you can actually go to valoplant.gg. And that's VALO and then plant.gg. This actually has a lot of useful lineups for every map that you can actually use to kind of figure out how you want to use the initiated character. So one of the biggest things about using a website like that is that you can actually learn lineups that you previously didn't know. For example, you can stand in certain locations on the map, and you can actually throw your haunt ability to certain spots. So in top mid, if I was to say line up right here and throw the haunt ability, it would actually land really short. But instead of doing it off the, just randomly, you could actually go to valoplant.gg, find a lineup for Fade's haunt, and use that lineup to throw an ability to reveal a certain location on the map. So I heavily suggest, if you are an aspiring Valorant player who wants to know how to play more initiator characters, that you use that resource or resources like blitz.gg, or you can even find lineups on Twitter. There's lots of useful material on those 3 platforms that you can use to up your game and figure out exactly how to use these agents, specifically initiators, to more effectiveness. Now, let's move on to the next initiator. The next initiator on a lineup is going to be called KO. Now, KO is very unique of an agent. He's completely different than other agents in that he doesn't originate from Earth. He's actually from Earth, but in a different timeline, if that makes any sense. So he's from Earth, but not really from Earth, His lore is that he's sort of an alternate timeline. So if you think about the MCU right now with the whole multiverse series in Marvel, you can actually kind of understand where he came from, right? So he's a robot, but he's a cybernetic guy. He's a human, but not really a human, right? And he's from Earth. His codename is Grenadier, and his abilities are very aptly named. So let's hop into the game really quickly, and I'll showcase you guys those abilities as well as some things that we can do. So I'll switch over to KO really quickly. And if Zero Slime, you could also switch over to KO. And then let's go ahead and switch the game. And once the round reloads, I'll be on KO, and we'll meet inside B main, and I'll showcase you guys some of the cool abilities that KO has. So KO is one of those agents that is able to do a lot in terms of initiation again. And his abilities are very aptly named, as I said before. His E ability is called 0 Point. Now, it equips a knife that you can then throw at various locations. As it says on the handle, it is an all-purpose EMP. Now, this actually stands for electromagnetic pulse, and it just basically means that it disrupts electronics everywhere. But in the game of Valorant, when you actually throw it out and it lands, it takes that entire area that the aura showed and disables all agents' abilities within it. It's also a great scouting tool in that allows you and your teammates to know exactly how many people are there. So I was to throw that knife and it landed, and there was 5 people there. I would know immediately that there's 5 people on the B site, allowing me and my team to go to the A site if we so chose. Now, on the opposite point, Zero Slime will throw the knife at me now and showcase that I'll no longer be able to use the abilities. So you can see at the bottom right of my screen, that all of my abilities are suppressed for a solid 8 seconds. Now, this is really detrimental to stopping pushes. KO is one of those agents that's so good on defense at scouting opponents as well as stopping them from executing. Think about Fade, think about the other character we just saw, Breach. If I was to use that on a spot where they were actually initiating, it would stop the push entirely. It would let me and my teammates know how many there were, and it would let my teammates know that they cannot actually execute onto the site as they don't have abilities. Now, KO's next ability, his C ability, is called Fragment. By pressing C, I am able to equip this blue cylindrical orb, and once I throw it out, and wherever it lands, it'll actually be a Molotov. I can that head, throw it out, and once it lands on the opponent, it actually does ticking damage to them. And with a whole tick of it, it'll actually kill them. I'll turn off invulnerability really quickly and see if we Zero Slime can land this nade on me really quickly. Nice. And you see it does ticking damage, and within 3 ticks, it'll actually kill me. And it does have 4 ticks, so it does quite a bit of damage, even more than Breach's Aftershock, right? Now, this ability is so good at segmenting parts of the map off. If I was to say take B site, I could throw the fragment into the market area and know for certain that if anyone was to push out of this, they would take ticking damage and most likely be killed, allowing me and my team to get to site very easily. Now, KO's next ability is called Flash Drive. Flash Drive, yes, it is a flash and a drive. Very funny. I can actually underhand or overhand this. So for example, I can actually look through this little doorway here, right? And as I'm coming up, I can throw a flash here and it'll actually pop on B site and it'll blind my opponents that are playing anywhere from market to CT to staircase. Now, the other one is if I was to underhand it. And now the underhand goes a much shorter distance and once it pops, it will still do the same thing. It'll still blind. So the key difference is that if you want to use it for geometrical purposes. So if I was to throw this overhand, right, I would have to throw it over and through a window, or what I could do is I could bounce it off of this wall right here and make it land. But if I was to underhand it, I can get it to much shorter distances for myself. So underhanding is primarily used for you yourself to execute onto a site or when you're close to a wall. So underhand flashes when you yourself are the one doing the fighting, or when you're close to a wall. Overhand them, that is left click them, when you're the one setting up a kill for your teammates. For example, you can use the flash drive over that same ceiling you saw right there, that same little grit right here, and make it so that you or your teammates are the ones that are peeking for you. Now, it's going to be really interesting because all these roles of initiator require you and your teammates to do that. So definitely go ahead, find some of your teammates via this channel or a different way, on through playing the game, or hit up your friends from school and play with them when you are playing Initiator. Initiator is one of those roles that can be very frustrating if you are playing alone. It's great at helping your teammates get kills and helping your teammates set up for things and controlling areas. But by itself, Initiator is not an excellent role at creating opportunities for itself. Now, KO's last ability, which is his Null Command, his ultimate ability, is also 7 cost. And when you press the ability, KO becomes sort of invulnerable, but only in a weird sense, in that he kind of disables enemies' abilities for 4 seconds every time this ticks. So you can see that me and Zero Slime have both activated our null commands. So both of our abilities will be sort of nulled, sort of removed, suppressed for that time period. In addition to that, if KO is taken down while in his null command and he is not the last one alive, his teammates can then resurrect him, actually. So if I was to kill Zero Slime here and he had a teammate alive, he would be able to be resurrected. This is similar to the Fortnite mechanic that a lot of us know, or Apex Legends mechanic that a lot of us know. It's going to be called the revive mechanic. Even if you're an Overwatch player, you know it, as Mercy mechanic too. And it's going to be very, very impactful too, because this allows KO, once he develops his ultimate, once he gets those orb points, to be the main attacker. Once he gets that, he can basically run in head first and know that his teammates are there to follow up and trade him. Because if he was to drop, his teammates can easily resurrect him. Now, that's a little bit about KO, right? And we learned just a little bit about him, of course. So let's move on to our next initiator agent in Sky. So me and Zero Slime are going to go change over to Sky here. We're going to end the game phase and meet again in B main. Now, I'll really quickly go back over to the slides and show you really quickly a little bit about Sky. So, moving on to Sky. Sky's name is Kira Foster. She hails from Australia. Her alias or her codename is the Great Reclaimer or Guide. And it's very aptly named for her, as her lore does suggest that she comes from nature. And Sky is very, very prevalent in the current meta for a lot of reasons. One of which is that she's one of the only 2 healers in the game. She's actually able to heal her teammates with her ability to regrowth, which I'll showcase you guys in a little bit here. So, going back to the game, we see Sky. And her abilities, when you go ahead and purchase them, cost quite a pretty penny. 250 for the Trailblazer, 200 for the regrowth. And she's actually one of the few agents that you have to purchase Guiding Light, aka her signature ability, that is. She does get 1 at the start of the round, no matter what, even if you used it the previous round. But you do really want to have 2 of those Guiding Lights if possible. And despite having 2 of them, if you purchase them, they actually do come back. So, if you were to use 1, for example like this, just blinding out, after that time limit on the bottom of your screen is up, it'll actually allow you to use another blinding light. And that's going to be very important. So once the blinding light comes back, I'll then go ahead and showcase it again. So blinding light, once you equipped it, or guiding light once you equipped it, is like a little bird, right? A green bird. And you can sort of direct it similar to how you direct Fade's Prowler. You can send it out and go ahead and send it into various areas by turning your crosshair. It also showcases you a spot in the center of your screen that tells you the time limit at which it could be used. And I can then choose to pop the flash, the guiding light, by simply pressing the E button. And this means that I can kind of like maneuver it around obstacles and around objects to kind of blind people at various locations. On top of that too, if I was to use guiding light on a location and it was to not blind him, it wouldn't make a sound. So as you heard from that, guiding light actually doesn't create any audio cue if it doesn't blind. But if guiding light was to blind my opponent, it was to blind Zero Slime here, there's actually an audible loud pop there. This means that Sky can play off of the audio cue that someone's there, and we now know that at least one person is there. That's why Guiding Light is so powerful for helping you and your teammates can take control of spots. And now, Zero Slime will send a Guiding Light at me, and it'll showcase how powerful this flash is. As you can see, it blinds you for a full 2 seconds. It's so annoying to deal with this ability, especially because he himself can maneuver it. So Zero Slime's going to send another Guiding Light at me, and I'm going to see what I can do to avoid it. The best I can do is turn it, right? But unlike other flashes in this game, I can actually shoot it. So Zero Slime can throw me a nice and easy Guiding Light. I couldn't shoot that one. Please give me another one here, Zero Slime. You see here? I can shoot at it, but it's very hard to destroy unless I'm very accurate with it. So really good Sky players are very solid at moving the bird around, making it so that it's very difficult to shoot. Now, her other abilities, like I previously mentioned, her C ability, one of the 2 healing abilities in the game, is called Regrowth. And what it does is, around an area of Sky, by pressing left click, I can actually heal allies within this aura, or within this radius rather. So this allows me to kind of rejuvenate my teammates. It doesn't heal their armor, however, but it does heal them back to full 100 HP if I have enough healing gauge. Of course, there is a limit to the healing. As you can see here, once I turned off infinite abilities, I will actually heal. And if there was teammates that are injured, it would reduce that healing gauge. Now, Fade's next ability is called Trailblazer. A lot of people in-game will call this dog. And once I press the Q button, it'll be a totem up on my screen of a dog. I then left click and I become the dog itself. I can turn around left and right and look around, and I can even send the dog out forward by simply pressing the left click button. So again, I can then go in the dog form and send the dog out with the left click button. Once it lands, it actually concusses the opponent and does a little bit of damage to them. Another cool feature I like to do with the dog too is that I like to use the jump key, spacebar or or a mouse wheel to kind of jump around to make the dog a little bit harder to hit. Now, Zero Slime will now use the dog, and I'll show you what it looks like too. You can jump with it. You can even left click and send it out. And once it was to hit me, right, it'll then concuss me. So again, just see if you can concuss me really quickly. Now that I'm concussed, it's actually very, very difficult for me to see and for me to shoot. So this ability is similar to Fade's Prowler, and it allows me to get control of an area of the map, as well as scout for my teammates if there's any enemies that are hiding in specific areas. It also allows me to concuss them, so my teammates can then kill them if they are in very precarious locations. Now, Trailblazer is so useful, but remember, use it with care, as you only get one of it per round, and it costs 250, so it's quite a lot of credits. But it can be very, very excellent for you, taking space, controlling that space, and also initiating executions for your teammates. Seekers is going to be Sky's last ultimate ability. And as we talked about ultimate abilities, they are, gathered by collecting these orbs on the map called ultimate orbs. You can also get them by getting kills or by dying, planting, and defusing the spike. So if I was to activate Seekers by pressing X, I pull out this sort of green lotus. I can then press the green lotus, and this will send out these little Seekers. Some people like calling them squids. Some people like calling them, chasers, whatever you want to call it. But it'll send it out, and this wolf, squid, chaser will actually go ahead and find Zero Slime. So just start chasing him and following him around everywhere. And when it's following him around, you'll see on the minimap, it's actually blue. And once it hits him, it'll then concuss him, similar to how, and blind him, similar to how the Trailblazer does it as well. Now, this can be a really useful scouting tool too, because when you use it, it actually sends out 3. So make sure that when you use it, there are 3 enemies alive, and it'll scour the whole map and go directly to the opponents. So it's really, really important, no matter how far away they are, to use this ability. Using this ability, it means that it will then follow them, and I can even run away from it, or I can follow it. And look, it just knows exactly where Zero Slime is. And it's very, very difficult to outchase these things, right? These Seekers. But one of the useful things is that you can actually shoot them. So Zero Slime, go ahead and use one on me. And you can see this Seeker will then follow me and chase me, right? But I can actually shoot it away. It does take 2-3 bullets. But once I get rid of it, there will still be 2 more chasing around my enemies. But for now, you can actually get rid of it relatively easily. It is a information tool more than anything, since it is so easy to deal with by shooting it. But it is still so prevalent in the current meta because it does remove and allow does remove obstacles from you, as in it clears out space and remove a lot of space from the enemy. For example, if I was in mid and I was to use the Seeker ability, it would actually go ahead and find out where my opponents are in relation to me. So if all 3 Seekers went towards A, I would know that there's 3 opponents on A that are closer to me than they are on B. This is a little more advanced, but then I could be able to safely assume that there's only 2 people on B and then tell my team to lean towards the B bomb site in attacking. This is going to be very, very useful for real-world advanced players taking use of this ability. That being said, that's just a brief overview of Sky. If you want to learn more, you can always message me at Discord on at Jonah number 2728 or on Twitter at BestStudentGG. But before we talk about that, let's talk about our most famous, I guess I would say, initiator character, which is Sova. Sova has been used for so long. He's one of those staples of the game. This Russian character, and so let's talk about him a little bit. Let's move over to him. So, as you can see from Sova's abilities, he's got quite a few of them. So let's really quickly go back over to the slideshow so I can showcase you guys Sova. Now, Sova's got a weird little bit of history, right? And he's got a few cool names, right? So his His given name is Alexander Novikov, and he's, of course, Russian. He does have a middle name, though. His middle name is Sasha, and his aliases are Filin, which just means like arrow in Russian. His other name is also Brother of Steel and String. Very accurate name for one who is a archer. He also has the codename Hunter. His race is human, he is a male, and of course, he hails from Russia, as I said before. His abilities are Recon Bolt, Owl Drone, Shock Bolt, and Hunter's Fury. Now, these abilities are so popular that there's actually been so many YouTube videos for lineups. Recon Bolt is his E ability, and when you pull it out, you'll see that there's a HUD that appears on your screen. You can make use of this HUD if you just learn a few things about it. So I'll show you some of the things that I like to think about when I use the ability. So there's 3 bars that are horizontal on your screen. If I was to shoot it right away, that is considered 1 charge. If I was to hold on to it and then let it go, that's considered 2 charge. And then if I was to hold on to it till there and let it go, that's considered 3 charge. And then if I was to hold it until it was red, that's max charge. So those are the different, intensities of Sova's recon dart. And it's really helpful to remember it that way, because then you can kind of control how far the dart goes and in what angle it goes. For example, if I was to aim it straight up and just do 1 charge, it would kind of fall down like a parabola, right, and land. But if I was to do the same thing and aim at the same spot and full charge it, it would just go straight up, right? So remembering the distance at which it goes based on the intensity of how much you charge it is very important. Now, if you were to equip the same bow, you can actually use the right click to control the number of bounces you want. So right clicking once gives you 1 bounce, right clicking twice gives you 2 bounces, and right clicking again sets you back to 0. One of the useful things is if you were to use a bounce off of a wall with no charge like that, it just bounces. So I'm only showing you guys this because there's so many creative ways to use the recon bolt, right? For example, if I was to peek a corner and go around the corner, I could use 1 bounce, shoot it like this, and know if anyone's in this location. And now people have gotten extremely creative with knowing lineups, right? And if you are playing the B site as Sova here, you could actually stand right here, in this little corner right here, in this exact spot, and you could actually line up, your bottom left of the charge HUD, and you actually throw it like this, and it actually lands like at the back of this B main spot right here and scans anyone back here. And once it scans him, I can actually use this dart, exactly the same exact lineup dart, to kind of shoot this guy. He's in here. I can then spam him. Right, so Sova's got some interesting things that he can do, right, with these lineups. These recon darts are very powerful. They allowed it to tick for 2 times. It used to be 3, but the developers thought that was a little bit broken. So again, I can shoot an arrow. It will scan then if he's in line of sight of it, and then I can then spam him through walls with a gun like the Odin. A lot of people like looking up lineups for him. Again, you can find this on YouTube, on blitz.gg, Valoplant, all these different news resources and websites, and they will allow you to learn lineups for the recon bolt, allow you to figure out where people are, and in general, just provide you a better experience when playing the game of Valorant if you want to learn an agent like Sova. His next ability is called Owl Drone. When I use it, I hop into a drone. I can then fly it around, and if I was to left click, I could then tag my opponent. Of course, the drone is killable, so I will use it again, and Zero Slime can then shoot it before I tag him. So I'll try to tag him, he shoots it, it's dead. Now on the opponent's side, this is what Owl Drone looks like. So Zero Slime will now Owl Drone me. I can see that it's an Owl Drone. He can then tag me with it, and I'll be revealed to the opponents as well as himself, and I have to run away basically. They'll see me in an outline, and it'll be very difficult for me to kind of do anything about it. Now, the next ability from Sova is called Shock Bolt, which is very similar to Recon Bolt. The only difference between the two is that once this one lands, it just delivers up to 75 damage to the opponent. So I can use it as such with 1 charge. Again, I can use it the same way with 1 bounce. I can even do a full charge. And now this is really important because there's lots of different Sova lineups with these 2 bolts, of course. You can get lineups that hit B main, you can get lineups that hit catwalk, all these different things you can do. And again, you can find those on Valorant Blitz or through YouTube searches by searching up Sova lineups. And it's going to be so important if you want to learn more about the character to master these things. Now, the last thing we want to talk about is Sova's Hunter's Fury. So go ahead real quick, and you're going to stand on the staircase location. Let's say I'm attacking B, right? And I have my Hunter's Fury available. I can send out my owl drone, and if my opponent isn't on site, but they're on staircase, I can then tag him. And after I've tagged him, I can use my ability and track him down and shoot at him with the Hunter's Fury. Hunter's Fury does 75 damage per cast, and it is 3 arrows that you can shoot through walls, through the ground, through ceilings, through floors, whatever have you. And it's really important that you get information with your utility kit before using Hunter's Fury. For example, you could use Recon Bolt, you could use Owl Drone, you could even have your teammates spot where players are before using Hunter's Fury. Hunter's Fury is also really good after you plant the spike, then you can use it and you can figure out exactly where opponents are playing and then use it to gun them down. Of course, Hunter's Fury on a tag, once you hit someone with it, actually reveals where the opponent is and then allows you to use another cast of it. And that's what's going to be so important for a player like Sova. If you are going to be playing the initiator role with your friends or on a team, it's going to be really key for you to use this whole kit together in combination with yourself and with your team to maximize your efficiency. So that's all I have for the initiator role. Thank you so much to Zero Slime here for helping me out with the initiator role. And let's wave him goodbye as we shoot him in the head real quick. I think he wants revenge. Let's run away. Okay. That's been all for me. Going back to the PowerPoint now, you can see that my name has been Jonah. You can find me at Discord at Jonah number 2728 or on Twitter at beststudentgg. And again, remember that picking an agent that helps round out the team's composition can lead you to more wins. And of course, thank you so much for everyone for watching, and we will be right back after this short break with more Valorant action. Thank you guys.
Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. It was a great little break that we had as casters, but you guys might have been seeing something a little bit different. Of course, we did have a wonderful coach there. Of course, a special thanks again to Best Student GG for showing you guys a lot of initiators. And of course, I'm an initiator and control main, so I always appreciate when people are given the right info to make sure that they know what they're doing. But of course, that's over, and now we're moving forward into, of course, the Inside Washington versus California Virtual Academies, and that's where I, Edu, am going to ask my wonderful co-host, Wes, what are we looking forward to this next game here?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an interesting one, right? We talked about California Virtual Academy, very recent late joiner to the league. They've only played one game so far in this West Central division here. So we'll see that we don't have a lot of tape on them, don't have a lot of info. Playing against Inside Academy of Washington, who are 2-2, so split it evenly down the middle there. And where are they going, Edu? They're going back on to Bind.
Yeah, and back on a bind, you're going to have hopefully a similar team composition that we saw. Obviously, what we saw last time with Ohio Virtual Academy versus K-12 Private was that Reyna that really showed us and everybody else what Reyna could really do. Do I think that that's going to be, again, what we're going to see? Maybe not. I did watch California Virtual Academy a few weeks ago, and they absolutely brought it. And of course, they also have a very active community in the Twitch chat as well. So if you guys are watching at home, make sure to make some noise. And of course, thank the teachers and everybody over in this whole bracket to really get this show on the road for you guys. But obviously, we are going to be moving into that next game here with all those players. I think that we're really excited to see what is going to happen. I know from last time I watched these players, Cleo really brought their A game. But name dropping aside, my question to you, Wes, is do you think that on a map like Bind, are we going to see the same thing that we saw last match there?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the question, right? You've got to see if some of these teams are watching that initiator breakdown that we just got on the break, because that really can come into play in Bind. We talked about Breach, heard about things like Fade, which we saw before. Those initiations, I mean, we saw with K-12, their initiation heavy composition was able to come out ahead in the previous match. So will we see something wacky like that already? We got Gravy maybe just baiting us, but hovering on that Neon, which would be so much fun to see. But of course, we do have a couple of agents locked in already. That's Chamber for both sides. No surprise there. Chamber is such a powerful agent. Even with nerf after nerf, it still is so much value that you can get out of that character. And the Brimstone locked in. I always love Brimstone on Bind.
Yeah, and honestly, thinking about what these agents and units can really do. Speaking of, an agent that's been nerfed over and over again, but still comes to the forefront of Valorant meta, has to be Astra. And I'm really hoping that we see an Astra. We do have a Brimstone locked in for the attacking side here next to that Neon there, but hopefully we can see a little bit of difference. We did see that Omen last time on K12's team, and Omen is that control agent that's able to go across the map on a map like Bind, able to bait it out, fake it out with some flashbangs and some teleports. This map, definitely, I want to see something that can do that, maybe even a Yoru, but it's a tough agent to play, especially because it can get predictable at times. But looking at everything, looks like we are going to have a little bit of a technicality moving forward. Maybe not everybody was able to load in properly, but that just gives us more time to talk about what we're hoping to see here. And Wes, I used to be a teacher before I was a caster. So, how do you feel that a lot of this is, we're a little bit older. Did you have anything like a esports program when you were in high school? Because I know I did not.
No, man, I would have killed for this. And yeah, it was really, really exciting to see this type of program get started. I was a part of some of this stuff in Canada where I live and, starting some of this stuff up, but it's seeing it this organized, seeing it this active, really, really amazing to see. And yeah, just like you said before, we cannot give enough of a shout out to all of the coaches, all of the teachers who are helping out and volunteering their time, as well as everybody who is helping us out with Stride Esports. It's just really, really valuable. It's such an amazing program to have. It's really can fulfill that niche. It can fulfill that need that the kids have for like organized sports and stuff like that. Esports is just another amazing option for all these kids. And you can see, some of them really, really go hard into this. And we know from watching a lot of esports, this can turn into a career. This can turn into something that is lifelong. And so that's the type of thing that I love to watch out for. It's one of my favorite things, absolute favorite things about these types of tournaments is to look out for those players and those coaches, those people who are really, really all in on this stuff, because that we are seeing the new generation grow up right and, develop right in front of us. So, it's a pretty lofty claim, but there's just no denying that it's the case. I have seen people who have casted years ago now get into the pro, get into the VCT, and you could be seeing, your next VCT star duelist right here in these games. So make sure you keep a very, very close eye on this. Make sure you keep an eye on those highlight reels, because they might be showing up in some documentaries down the line.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, with this new esports community building that has been kind of propped up, especially during the whole COVID season where people were staying at home needing something to do, that actually sparked so many more esports organizations in colleges, and I've casted for a lot of colleges. So there's actually a chance that, there could be at a time, I've seen lots of really bright young minds get offered scholarships because of how good they can hit a 360 no scope. It's insane. Times are changing. So if there's any of a time to get into esports, it's right now with all of these new projects that colleges are just chucking money at. So keep this up, and hopefully we could see these young players really shine through. And obviously on a map like Bind, we're gonna also see how they can do it right now in a 5v5. And of course, we have two great teams battling it out right here, right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be California up against Washington, California, Virtual up against Insight, Washington. California is going to start over on that defending side. They're tagged up with RTL. I'm just looking up exactly what that stands for, because definitely would love to call these players by their team name, but that's California Virtual over on the defending side starting off. And we do see the compositions. We, of course, do see that fade on both sides. So talking about initiators, remember the things that we were told by the coaching about fade, about some of the advantages and disadvantages of this agent. Meanwhile, though, speaking of advantages, we've already got the defenders picking up an advantage with an opening pick.
Yeah, that opening pick, Chamber already won in the Chamber for the enemies, taking him down, but Kimmy here does have that spike, looking to find if anybody wants to peek him, and that's going to be a little bit difficult with all these smokes and the util, and the fact is, they already lost one of their main players. So let's see how we have RTL Boy anchoring it down. Here's those footsteps for the rotation, but right now, it's pistol round, and with only a classic, you're going to want to start rotating soon, or you're going to be caught out with only a minute on the clock. You need to touch that site rather quickly here.
And you gotta kind of keep in mind that it was the chamber who went down to the opposing chamber. Such a powerful option in the pistol rounds because of that headhunter, that extra firepower that chamber brings in. One of the reasons he's so powerful, and so the defenders definitely with a big advantage here. But all attackers grouped up, working their way towards A short, and the defenders, the Californian squad, is playing this very, very careful, not giving up any information, and they just absolutely crunch onto that A short push. It's only going to be OHVA remaining in showers, trying to find whatever they can. Doe does get one headshot coming through, looks for another kill, and there it goes, but it's 1 HP, Edu. 1 HP remaining on this Reyna. Just a heroic stand, but it is not going to be enough. There isn't even enough time remaining. So all you can do is try to get damage in this round, and OHVA is going to back right off.
You know, I'm surprised by this backup play. With 1 HP, yes, it's hard to clutch it, but when in a 1v3, you need to try to make some money here. And if you're just going to get gunned down, that is not looking too hot for your economy. But overall, still got those 2 picks, still able to buy some light armor here. But right now, what we're seeing coming out from ISWA is a little bit of a fallback. And honestly, hands down, gotta give props to Leffy there, opening it up. 3 kills. Of course, we had the chamber at the start, but that round definitely was very much 100% in the control of Kava.
Yeah, absolutely no way in. Running into a brick wall on that A short position, and without even the Sage having to put it up. And so here is Yuta now looking for more. Doesn't manage to catch that shot with the Marshall, but does manage to scare off a couple of potential pushers here. They're still going to try to keep going, but Yuta can't quite connect on that particular position. And so the attackers are going to back off. IWSA wants to regroup and decide their next move. Look like it's going to be A short or potentially an A split once more.
Yeah, an A split here. What you kind of want to do, obviously, we're seeing this Reyna. She's already gotten 2 picks here with this Ghost in hand. But the problem that we are seeing is all the utility getting dumped by this Brimstone. Definitely wants to push him back, but here's Leffy, already Spectre in hand, spots out the Sage, and is going to get 1, backs it up, and now it's going to be a little bit of a hold going a long way with Fernie getting another pick down, and that's already 2 against these players, and everybody is now losing their HP with Yuta on the flank, spotting 1, but Fernie is going to burn them down. A flawless round from defenders, but here comes the buy round, and that really showcases what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, sometimes I say now the real match begins. When the gun round starts off, it's going to be a bonus for that Californian squad, and how they use this bonus. If they're able to get this, they get themselves into such an amazing position in terms of that battle economy, in terms of getting their money up and getting themselves into a great financial position for the next few rounds. So it's really, really important for Washington to try to get themselves into a winning position in this round. Try to use the range that they're going to have with these rifles, except that not all of them have those. So it's kind of a bit of a wash in this round, unfortunately. So you've really, really got to see the couple of rifles that have been picked up by Oribot and Kimmy. Got to see those come through, and that's exactly what we see. Oribot coming through with the Vandal.
I mean, that Vandal in hand, already taken down 1, but this, of course, is going to be the bonus round for these defenders, and the retake, it's hard to do with only a Spectre, but I think that we're going to be able to see some damage. 2 picks, no, 3 with the chamber, and make it almost a 4th with that shot, but now it's just up to you, Dragon Pants. Now, this is what Dragon Pants needs to do. They just have to play it slow, maybe get some picks out, but they got the bomb down here, but this is their buy round. Defense, Yuta, you are the person that is popping off right now. Look at this chamber, already 6-1.
Yeah. Now harken back. You saw that last play. Harken back to what we just saw in the coaching break there. That was the fade coming through and revealing that last player. You've got to make sure you've got your eyes on the fade utility, because it will be so devastating if you can't work around it. So really, really well done by the defenders side, by California overall. Really, really impressive stuff coming through there. And yeah, they just seem so hard to break through. And now it just seems like it's really a garage sale for the buy side of Washington. They are really, really struggling in the financial aspect, and what you want to see from them is to get themselves into a save round so that they can all match up how much money they have. Do see Oribot coming in with the opening kill, and that is going to allow them onto the A site to get the plant. So that's definitely a big improvement here. Trades are coming through properly, so the attackers are doing just fine here, but now they're in a 2 versus 3 post-plant situation.
2 versus 3, but it's gonna be okay as long as they just work together here. But that's a Judge shredding through and taking out Oribot, and they're just gonna stick it. But Oxy using the Empress here just to blind fire, and Leffy's gonna leave nobody behind. That's the kind of gameplay you like to see. And honestly, we're seeing a 4-0 start, which is very similar to what we saw last game, but this is a little bit different because instead of the team with the Reyna popping off, it's the team with the Rays. We got Leffy here and Yuta, both 7 picks down, already having the showstopper and the tour de force. So is it gonna be enough for them to now keep this going and push it into the 5th round here?
Yeah, you saw that really clean aim from Yuta already on that headhunter in an earlier round, and they are playing with so much poise and so much confidence right now. You know, it has to be some sort of regroup, maybe something extreme coming in from the side of Washington in order to break through this composure and in order to maybe introduce a little bit of chaos, because when you go up against those really skilled players who are really successful on holding angles, that is going to be something that is an option to maybe solve that, maybe try to go forward with it. Now, Oribot has gotten a couple of opening kills, and so that's definitely a silver lining, but the defense continues to hold strong, continues to get themselves advantages, and now it's a 4 versus 2 after the picks have gone through.
Yeah, I mean, already getting these picks down, and hopefully now Oribot is not going to be a bot pushing in and getting Boy at the bottom of the site. Let's find out with a little bit of a push up, and that Judge from that distance is going to judge you unworthy. Now it's just up to you, Dragon Pants, to get this pick. Spike is in your hand, is in the control, but with the Bulldog as your only weapon against now some rifles, this is gonna be tough. But oh my, just goes right through and does so much damage to Dragon. But behind you is gonna be Leffy taking that portal and sending you through to the other round. Beautifully played so far by CAVA.
Very tough spot for Dragon Pants. Not a lot of options there, and California was giving them even fewer as they encroached in on that position. A pincer movement, just strangling out all different parts of the map. Really successful stuff. I love watching the way teams play an advantageous situation. What kind of discipline they have, even when they know they've got the upper hand, that is the mark of a really powerful team. And so we continue to watch out for that, how they play those advantageous positions, because we've got to see that as well from the side of Washington, because they have gotten the opening pick a couple of times now off the back of Oribot. Speaking of opening picks, here comes Yuta on the flank, and this could be absolutely devastating. Edu coming through the smoke. Ozzy, will they be there? Watching, good game sense to be watching this. That's so smart from Oxy.
Wow, and already we're seeing both these teams have a lot of West Side Warriors on their team. I mean, both of them over in that California-Washington area, and they're just going for it. But here's Cleo going to clean him up, but oh, just barely gets dodged around and has to dash out. But luckily, does not take any damage. And now you got Fernie and Cleo anchoring in this nest, waiting for anybody to want to push them. If they try to push, it's going to be tough here, but that eye is going. But oh, there goes the rain. And there's the nade, though. Does a lot of damage and takes out Dragon Pants. Now it's just a 2 against 3. The ults are coming out, though. I think Fernie's ready for it.
Does manage to get that plant down, but here comes Fernie, like you said, with a great pick coming through. There's Fernie right through the wall. Unbelievable from Fernie, and that is going to secure the round. Again, excellent game sense there from a lot of these players. I loved that from Oxy, making sure that that flank was shored up, making sure that that smoke was being watched, and a great headshot to boot, but it's still going to be RTL getting themselves into defensive positions, finding those picks, and keeping their composure. I keep saying the same thing, Edu, they've got composure, but that is such an important piece of Valorant, and I love to see it in these young players.
Yeah, I mean, so far what we're really seeing from them is that they are confident in what they are doing. And, you know, in all the experience that I had during my high school career, whenever someone is confident and they're in high school, they're going to go very far. You know, if you got your stuff together, you're ready to bring your A game. And they are. Right now, these defenders are just going for it. Look at Yuta. Just walking out there and tapping some heads. That's the kind of confidence that you're gonna want, and you're wanting this player on your team on Chamber. But let's see what can happen with the Sage now wanting to re-peek that just where their teammate dropped.
Yuta continuing to encroach, continuing to be a nuisance here and spotting the gun. There's Yuta coming through. Doesn't manage to get that pick. It's a lot of info there, but it's going to be OHVA actually staying strong. Very, very impressive. Nice headshot there onto Boy, but Leffy gets the trade. There's Kimmy coming through. 3 versus 3 situation. Now the attackers, maybe their best chance so far to win a round. Oh, Leffy is just clean with it right there.
Yeah, such a clean player and not really giving it up, but right now we got Dragon Pants sitting, trying to get that spike down, but unfortunately stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Leffy is going to have the big gun, and there it is. Fernie finishing it off, getting Gravy down, and that is going to be a 7th round in a row for this California-based team.
Yeah, and there's definitely, you know, a lot of skill. You can see it on California, but also the Valorant is such a mental game, and they are playing that so well. You saw, we just talked about Yuta coming through, swinging those angles so confidently. The scariest Valorant player to play against is the one who knows they're going to hit their shots while they swing, and that is exactly what we're seeing from the likes of Leffy and Yuta. So keep an eye on those two players. They are absolutely bringing it right here. But we also see OHVA, you know, coming in with some very, very nice shots. And so just the right pick coming through at the right time can completely turn the tide of a round. We can't count them out of these just yet. And there's OHVA once again, bringing that opening pick for their team.
Bringing the picks, getting 2 down was at the cost of one of their players, but look at that ultimate, able to bait it out, but Dragon Pants and Kimmy were sitting so close that they still take a little bit of damage from the showstopper, but now you got OHVA ready to try to keep it going, keep moving forward, and wants to push in to do some more damage. But of course, with both of your teammates being so low, you're gonna have to put them up on your shoulders and carry them to victory, because right now you're up against some great gamers. It's going to be tough, but here comes a util from those initiators, as we talked about in that coaching session, trying to make some space to push them in. And look at that timing. The Brimstone was not spotted, just barely, by the smoke dropping, but there it is. Speaking of drops, that's going to be 1 dropped, and it's the judge yet again in the hands of Boy.
Oh yeah, this is going to be such a problem here. Boy is so good in this position, but actually Kimmy manages to play around the smoke. The Brimstone gets outplayed in the smoke, and so that's impressive from Kimmy. The only player remaining, though, gonna have to plant inside the site. Very hard to defend this, but Leffy is so low. 1 single shot will take them down. Kimmy, oh, Leffy with amazing game sense right through the wall, and that's gonna be RTL staying undefeated in the match.
That shot, it just, the combo, it just came out and it absolutely showed up everybody. Obviously, Leffy had that showstopper that brought everybody down to 1 HP. And then just finishes it off with the just nonchalant wall bang through the Radianite boxes. That's what makes these players so good. I mean, Leffy leaving no one behind. It's 8 rounds in, and they are 17-2.
Absolutely. Yeah, this California team, this latecomer to the league, really needing to make a name for themselves. And man, are they ever doing that, Edu. This is so impressive from this newcomer team. And it just, it doesn't seem like Washington has been able to find the answer just yet. They're not able to get anything going. Even the matches where they're close, just a clutch from the individual skill from California manages to come through. Here's Kimmy coming in with the Nightfall, though. This could be the answer, getting themselves in, but Cleo is already ready for it from B long. That's so good. The multiple angles that they're watching this from make this so difficult to hit, and Washington is dropping like flies here.
Dropping like flies, but of course, that is going to be 1 pick. But we got Gravy here, looking to find 1. It is going to do a little bit of damage over to Leffy, but they're kind of getting pinched, and that's going to be the spray. Leffy getting another final blow of the round, and honestly, you got to hand it. I think what they really did there, able to group up as a team, push a site together, that got them farther than like on a site than we've seen in quite some time here. And that's what we really need to be seeing from them. Obviously, Cleo with that, their operator is going to try to wall them off from the long side and just block them off with that op. But again, great attempt here, but look at the ultimates that are currently building up. Of course, we got the Tour de Force that should be getting popped soon. And all right, we also have both the Resurrection and the Open Up the Skies. So hopefully those ults can shift this.
Yeah, you see Chamber calling it out. You want to play? Let's play, says Ori Bot. And we'll see who wants to play right here, as that Tour de Force is going to be holding the angle. But it's a passive hold this time on the B site, and as well on A. A very, very far back, very relaxed hold this time for the defenders. Just feeling very confident that they can play retake if they need to, but it allows a lot of space to be taken. You can see both Hookah and A Short are controlled by the attackers right now, and that's a lot of info and a lot of resources that they are able to take advantage of in order to decide where to go. And indeed, they are going to head towards that B long position, but the player in Hookah, that's Oxy, so important on this push, has already been taken down, and that's Yuta taking it down. So while these shots go into the B long position, it's going to be Washington having to regroup once again.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing from Yuta here is just saving that ultimate for whenever they really need to economy-wise, and they just haven't needed to. We haven't seen that Tour de Force really get popped out yet, but with shots like those, you don't need a Tour de Force because you're the force to be reckoned with, and you're on tour through the enemies, gunning them down every single time. But now, we're going to see a full A rotation coming around for these attackers. Of course, they did lose their chambers, so they don't have that defense behind, but with only 12 seconds, we're seeing a portal get taken, and now they're just buying some time. They have completely forgotten about the site. There's no time to touch anymore, just from the portal from Fernie. And here we go. It's Kimmy, and Kimmy is down. So is Gravy. Finally, Dragon Pants, last one standing, and is going to go down as well.
Yep, and that's going to be a flawless round coming through for California. And yeah, they are just so dominant right now, and you can see exactly why. They try multiple different positions of defense. They've got very relaxed, far back, controlled, planned out defenses, and then sometimes they get aggressive. You see Yuta swinging out. The variety that this team has been able to bring to this map are the reason that they've been able to put 10 unanswered rounds on the board. It's just really impressive what they've been able to do so far, and this is a team that I can't wait to see continue through the playoffs. But still, we do have some really, really good individual talent, and you can always find something in these games, but those opening picks are just absolutely devastating once again.
You know, I look down at my watch and there's already 3 players missing, but there is going to be an answer to it with 1 pick. But look at that dash! Cleo goes right in and takes him down while Fernie's on the flank, able to do a little bit of damage to Dragon Pants, but Dragon's the only person alive and is still standing after taking down Fernie here. Spike in hand. Is just going to be crouching along the ground here, looking to see if they could be extra stealthy, cover to cover, corner to corner, waiting to see if they could find a spot to plant the bomb. And there it is, the bait. Now that ultimate is going to be used.
Going for that spot that was not going to be ulted. They were waiting for that orbital strike, but now Dragon Pants has their own orbital strike available, so potentially this post plant could be one that Dragon Pants has an advantage in. You saw that nice little lineup coming through, but Dragon Pants, very, very interesting position. Boy may not check this, and yeah, gonna start to come through, sees the gun. That's Dragon Pants with 1v1 now remaining, and the orbital strike is up. All Dragon Pants has to do is stay safe, but it looks like Leffy might able to sneak this one through. There's the orbital strike coming out at just the wrong time, and the iPad is pulled out instead of the gun. That's going to be 11 rounds on the board, but Dragon Pants was so close. What an attempt there.
Honestly, a beautiful attempt by Dragon Pants, able to pick up 2 picks, but this is the last round before the swap, and we have yet to see these attackers take a round, and that's going to be a lot of pressure. You know, we talked about pressure being built up after, you know, that 4-8, but this is 11-0, and we need to see these players become some heroes here. Obviously, Dragon Pants picked up 3 kills that round alone, and that is definitely something not to scoff at, but right now, we need to see these players pop some ultimates. Of course, we still have the Resurrection, but defense, they got the Nightfall, they got the Jet Blades, they got everything, and they're bringing it right here, right now, with the push now coming up through short. Yuta is going to get one regardless and take down not only the chamber, but also the spike.
Yeah, it's going to be California going very, very fast and hard. That's Yuta with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just one more for Yuta to finish off this half with an ace. But Oxy is no player to sniff at. It's going to be Oxy coming in. There's Yuta coming around. Will the ace come through? The spray isn't quite there. Oxy's trying to find the trade, but the ace comes through. Yuta finishes off the half in style.
Wow. I mean, honestly, I love that the
Switching
Jet was
sides.
like, okay, it's
Yep.
your ace. Here you go. Let's dance around. Let's play Just Dance and see who's gonna get there. And honestly, that's the kind of good teamwork that you like to see. And you know, hand it to Oxy. They definitely knew what was going on there and just said hi to the Jet to try to battle it out to see who was gonna get the ace, yes or no. And that's the kind of gameplay that makes this level always so fun to watch.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of fun being had by these players here. Definitely, you know, the California side showing it a little more, but you can still tell that Oxy definitely has some tricks up their sleeve as well as the rest. I mean, you know, that heartbreaking clutch attempt there from Dragon Pants. It was so close, Edu, and man, I was really, really pulling for that. But in the end, a perfect half comes through from California here, and only one pistol round separates them from a 13-0 victory in this second game of the evening. So we'll see if they can get that. Oxy gets a little bit of damage from the side, and Leffy does manage to finish that one off. But here comes Dragon Pants and Oribot around the corner. Try to find more. Yuta is just so good on this headhunter, though.
I mean, that's why it's called a headhunter, because that player's been finding every single head, but boy gets one and Kimmy just gets two. But there it is. Leffy ends the game, 2 headshots down, and that is going to be a 13-0 for Team CAVA California Virtual Academy. And I mean, how did you feel about that game there, Wes?
I mean, you know, there's like, what is there to say? It was definitely a blowout, and it just showed the absolute power of this California team. It's clear they are putting a lot of resources, and they've got a lot of very passionate players involved with this esports project, and so they definitely deserve that win. A 13-0 is a huge statement, and all the teams in this league, both divisions, are going to now have their eyes on California if they are doing their due diligence and watching those VODs, because man, this is a force to be reckoned with, this California team.
Yeah, I mean, we watched them a few weeks ago. CAVA brought their A game, and that's kind of what they do. I mean, Yuta 23-9, Leffy 23-2. I mean, that kind of gameplay in an entire game, 13-0, definitely something not to scoff at. But you also have to say, great gameplay. Obviously, Dragon Pants bringing their A game there. Honestly, almost clutching a few rounds. Oxy always consistent with that Marshall. Honestly, I could not hit those shots if I tried. Especially, you know, we saw that Yuta push it through the smoke, and boom, their head just disappeared. And that's the kind of gameplay that you want to see. You know, the seeds have definitely been planted for this Washington-based team, and I'm sure that given time and practice, they can be just as good or even better than any team that they consistently want to fight against. And obviously, moving forward through that of course was going to be the last game of tonight, because our Midwest and West Coast teams have kind of merged right now. So unfortunately, not as much Valorant for you guys to be watching, but I hope that I, as a caster joined by the wonderful Wes Rambo, also made it as fun to watch as possible. But my question to you, my wonderful co-caster, is how did you like casting here for the first time? Obviously, you're new to Stride, so how was it casting?
Yeah, man, it's been amazing. I feel so welcomed with open arms. I got to see some incredible Valorant in high school and collegiate, college Valorant. These you know, student run or student leagues are some of my favorite types of Valorant to watch, because of what I was talking about before, the potential that you can see in these players. And man, I would love to be back, because yeah, this kind of thing is even more fun the more you follow it and the more you delve into the way that these players are growing. Things can change so much, even from week to week, from day to day. Edu, it's so exciting to watch these players grow. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this. You know, we definitely got a nice, really close, exciting game. We got a very, very short, very dominant game. But there's definitely stuff to be learned from both games, right? We saw how much potential either team had in that first game, and we got some really, really good learning moments in that second game. For instance, you saw, like you said, you know, the likes of Oxy, the likes of Oribot getting those opening picks coming through. All it takes to get a bunch more rounds on the board is just to get those opening picks and then back off and take stock of the situation and play it to your advantage the way your opponents were doing. So every single team that played tonight should be watching these videos back and, checking it to see, okay, this moment in time, what should we change here? This moment in time. And, those who do that, you will see the growth. You will see it so quickly, and nothing can make me more excited than that.
Exactly. And I couldn't have said it better myself, but I also can say one thing. Thank you again to the teachers, the staff, the production, everybody for making this show keep on going. And of course, motivating your students and even your teachers as well to have something to do after school that isn't either grading a bunch of homework or doing a bunch of homework. So thank you, everybody, for helping this show get on the road. Of course, I have been EduCast, and that, of course, is the wonderful Wes Rambo. You can check us out with the little names under our names. But if you guys want to watch the weeklies next week, let's talk about the schedule that we are going to be seeing here coming up. Of course, we do have Monday, League of Legends. So when we get back from our weekend break, see you guys there in that MOBA. But afterwards, Tuesday, chess.com. Wednesday, we got Fortnite for you, which some of the players are the same as the Valorant. And of course, Thursday, Rocket Leagues. And then we will be back here again next Friday with some Valorant. But you guys have been amazing to watch, and hopefully we can see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.